Scavengers Reign is such a wonderfully weird show. This animated miniseries follows a small group of survivors as they embark on something of a surprise safari while trying to find their way back to the remnants of their crashed spaceship, the Demeter 227. Except instead of leaving with candid photos of giraffes doing yoga poses and elephants having a therapeutic mud bath, the souvenirs these survivors consistently walk away with are more along the lines of perplexing questions. What's this freaky looking thing? What's going on inside my body? Why is this creature pursuing us like a deranged Taylor Swift stalker? Are all things characters ask themselves about as regularly as I find trivia polls in my YouTube feed that I voted more frequently than my town's local elections. To elaborate a little, Scavengers Reign is weird because it boldly challenges our expectations of how things are supposed to be. The cosmos, storytelling elements, even plants. I'm talking about the whole kit and caboodle. And in a world where so much entertainment is skewed toward appeasing the masses, Scavengers Reign is unique in that it's not trying to be accessible. It's totally comfortable doing its own thing, even if that means things get uncomfortable in the story at times. Real quick, going forward, there will be major spoilers, so if you don't want those, make sure you get Will Smith to neuralize you after you're done watching the video. A good slap may work too. Nature, ecosystems, biodiversity. In my opinion, these things often get overlooked in the sci-fi genre when it comes to TV and movies. The whole planet's usually a desert, or a forest, or a city, or a giant Amazon warehouse.
There's a planet Kandoka, and we're on its moon. Kablam turned it into one massive warehouse.
Look at the size of it.
But Vesta, which is the world these survivors take their unwilling vacation on, is different. First, let's talk about the plants. The animals are just as bafflingly brilliant, but let's start with the stuff that makes the forest on Earth look about as bland as a blank Bob Ross canvas. Throughout the show, we see heavy vines that conduct electricity, flowering umbrellas that catch gooey purple sacks, trees that'll suck you up like those tubes in Futurama. It's like the show's creators just looked around their office space and went, hey, let's make that into something. And it's genius. Nature and technology are always being depicted as being about as separate as ketchup and mustard. But because so much of the plant life in Scavengers Reign is reminiscent of devices and gadgets, it actually works to make Vesta feel even more alien to Earth. There is nothing you can look at and immediately make sense of. It's what I imagine visiting the inside of Crispin Glover's mind would be like.
They don't.
You seem to be
People try to
distraught.
make me sound a lot weird, and
Yeah.
I'm strong. You know, I'm strong. I can arm wrestle. The press says things about you in the.
And then you have the animals. Pizza-headed raptors that cook their prey with the sheer power of the sun. Crab cows that will lick you to death. Telekinetic aliens that will hypnotize you before giving you a fine dinner of black oil from their inner guts. If you made a zoo on this planet, it'd make Jurassic Park look like it lacked an imagination. Dilophosaurs that spit toxic venom? Psht. Vesta's got creatures that spit you. It all combines to make the planet the most interesting character in the show. It's complex, it's deep, it's fascinating, it's all the things that get you invested in a show's protagonist. Except it's a planet. If I could pick a most memorable critter from Scavengers Reign, it'd definitely be this parasitic alien that uses another survivor as a kind of evil Muppet to fix Sam's infection and then has her implant a pellet into him that grows into another parasite, effectively reproducing itself. It's creepy, it's horrible, and it sets the stage for one of the most heart-wrenching deaths in the entire show. This brings me to another aspect of Scavengers Reign that's weird, and that's the various circumstances each of the surviving characters find themselves in over the course of their journey. For example, Sam. Sam's awesome. He's got all the makings of a survivor. He's rough, tough, determined. He's got a wicked white beard. He's like if Papa Smurf worked out at Gold's Gym 7 times a week and ate rocks. But then he gets infected with this parasite and it makes him stronger, healthier, gives him the underwater mobility of a beluga whale. I almost want to say sign me up for one of those. Then Sam starts carving out a new studio apartment into the rock face with his bare hands, decorating it with some pretty groovy mood lighting, and scratching his chest the whole time like his allergies are flaring up, because the parasite inside Sam, while giving him a pretty sizable stat boost, is also pulling something of a Remy from Ratatouille. Except instead of creating delectable dishes for unsavory critics, Sam's Remy is trying to turn him into a Lovecraftian monster, and here I was thinking he'd just, like, die. Another character that has some weird stuff happen to them is Levi. Levi's the companion of another survivor named Ozzy, and she, I have to mention, totally looks like a Registeel from Pokemon, and I can't get it out of my head. Levi gets infected with this yellow fungus that's somehow able to connect with her circuitry and give her a little bit of a software upgrade. Over the course of the show, Ozzy has to come to terms with the fact that Levi is starting to have physical sensations, get lost in thought, and form opinions about what she likes and doesn't like. In other words, every employer's worst nightmare. This isn't too bizarre though. It's already been established that the line between human technology and nature is a little bit more blurred on Vesta, but things get really freaky after Levi is destroyed and is presumed to be dead. Being ripped into 1,010 little bits of bot tends to do that to you, but then Mother Vesta straight up rebuilds Levi, and she becomes the forerunner to what seems to be a whole new species of alien? What the hell? I think it's part of a central theme that's got a pretty weird idea behind it, and it's that everything, even things that don't seem to be alive, is connected on a cosmic level. This is perhaps best exemplified in a moment where Levi, in her rebuilt form, psychically connects with a telekinetic alien, and the two seem to witness the entire history of the planet flash in their mind's eye. Through their POVs, you see the land masses wriggle and twist like they're life forms themselves. The animals that come from them change too, evolving into all the different creatures you see throughout the show, yet they move in sync, as if they're one. Mentioning that telekinetic alien brings me to maybe one of the strangest character situations of all. Cayman. Cayman is kind of the reason everyone's in this mess. He tried to take a shortcut past an unstable star to save time on their trip, proving quite spectacularly why you never, ever try to outsmart the GPS. He makes contact with this funny little alien that's able to perform telekinesis, and long story short, it takes up residence in his mind. But as Cayman comes to terms with his actions, realizing he's responsible for the deaths of his crew and even the woman he loved, the alien does what you'd naturally do to comfort someone in emotional distress: absorb them into your womb. For a good chunk of the season, Cayman rides around in this thing rent-free, oblivious to the terror and destruction the other survivors endure in their fight to return to the ship's wreckage. But I do believe there's a method to this madness, because it does serve that central theme again. In fact, it's even literal here, because Cayman gets connected to the alien from the inside with an umbilical cord. He becomes its son. His protective father? Or is Cayman the protector? He does feed the alien until it grows up, and in the end, when it's vaporized, Cayman is seen cradling an infantile version of it, as if it's his son, as if things have come full circle. God damn, this show's deeper than a Chicago-style pizza. However, the world and the bizarre things that happen in it are nothing without something very important. Something that's just as weird and wacky as everything we see on screen. The music. Choices are made, and they're not what you think. For instance, you'd think the survivors of the Demeter crashing on Vesta would be set to dramatic, awe-inspiring music as they hurtle through the atmosphere at thousands of miles an hour, rattling around their eggshell of an escape pod. But no, in the intro, which is when you mainly see this happen, it's calming piano music. Almost makes you want to nap? Not only is it an unconventional choice, but it also does another interesting thing too. It creates a sense of distance. All this crazy stuff is happening, but the music makes it feel like it's far away, far enough that it doesn't really matter. Which is true, considering the fact that when compared to the sheer eternity of the universe, even the biggest nuclear bomb isn't even a speck on a speck. Another musical score I want to shout out is the one that plays during Sam's realization that he's going to have to kill himself, as he comes to understand the parasite is changing him into something he doesn't recognize, and that it's going to put everyone in danger. It's so beautiful. It echoes like the ceiling is getting higher, like the scope of things is getting bigger. It's a truly haunting melody that contrasts Sam's character kind of a lot, and it's just not what I expected to hear at his character's end. Because he's a rational guy, he doesn't want to stick around oohing and eyeing at little men and flowers. Sam wants to get to the ship and go the hell home. He's practical, down to earth. Vesta. He's down to Vesta. He's simple in what he wants, and he's simple in how he wants to get there. A straight line. Yet the music signifying the end of his character feels almost spiritual. The ghostly, angelic vocals create a feeling like you're on the threshold of something bigger, like something beyond. Its music with such dimension to it, and it's sad as hell too. For me, it makes Sam's death the most memorable in the entire series. Which brings me to the last bit of music I want to talk about in this show, the theme song for the telekinetic alien. Whenever it shows up and just starts attacking things, you start hearing this pipe organ that just sends shivers down your spine. Specifically in the scene where the telekinetic alien absorbs Cayman into its womb, you get that same pipe organ along with some truly chilling vocals. It's both beautiful and it makes your skin crawl at the same time. It's so distinct from all the other scores in the show. When it starts to play, you know daddy's coming. But it's weird because it's like the music is trying to portray this alien as seeming alien even to its alien world. Considering the creature's literal connection to Cayman, and the fact we also hear the pipe organ in the sequence where it psychically connects with Levi, it's like the music is purposefully trying to suggest the telekinetic alien is more closely associated with that idea of cosmic consciousness and cosmic connection than it is the Vestian environment it's from. That it's a physical manifestation of what could be the show's most central theme. Either that or I'm pulling a Charlie. So yeah, that's Scavengers Reign for you. Such a wonderfully bizarre creation. Kinda like Taika Waititi. Even though everything in Scavengers Reign is like fictional, the show really makes you wonder what's out there amongst the stars, and how eerie and unsettling it can be. We've molded so much of Earth that it's easy to forget this planet and the universe beyond it weren't specifically created for us. We're just clinging to it like a horsefly stuck on a truck driver's windshield, and our understanding of it all is about as fragile as a soap bubble. For all we know, this could be some celestial god's fan fiction, or a tiny universe nestled on the nose of some intergalactic amoeba. Or maybe we're just something like a movie, a little video that's already been made, and we're just riding along it like a scrubber on a progress bar. And when time runs out, when the video's finally over, a weird thing happens. Everything that we so confidently call reality just goes